Hey everybody, so welcome to this special on the full moon in Scorpio, which is also a blue moon because May has two full moons in 2026. So we had the first one on the 1st of May in Libra, and this second full moon on the 31st of May in Scorpio. Only happens every 2 to 3 years, a blue moon, when the 29.5 a day lunar cycle allows two full moons within a single calendar month. But there's more to blue moon history for you geeks out there that I'll get into later. So I'm Imani, your holistic astrological life coach, and I'm going to talk to you all about this moon in Scorpio, the full moon, and the theme of this moon is when joy breaks through the deep, and also it's a blue moon, but it's also a micromoon, because the moon at apogee, which means furthest point from Earth, is appearing 12 to 14% smaller than at the time of supermoon, right? So where supermoons increase the intensity of the moon's energy by like 30%, micromoons create a quieter, more internalized energy, and it's perfect for the Scorpio's deep, intimate work, fixed water energy. So the small, distant moon asks you to go inward rather than outward at the time of this full moon, which are all about releasing what we need to let go on so we can begin the new cycle, the new moon in 14 days in a better state, right? So let's actually talk about what's actually happening on the 31st of May at 9:45 GMT time. So this blue moon, and it's I do believe it's a flower blue moon, but we'll get to that in a bit, lands at the 16th degree of Scorpio, and it's asking you to smile while standing in the deep end of emotional intensity or whatever is going on in the world. And we know there's a lot of crap going on, right? So it's not telling us to do the fake kind of smile you paste on when someone asks you if you're okay and you're properly not, but the real kind, the kind that breaks through because something's just landed and you've just decided to just smile through the bull crap, So maybe you've been holding on to intensity for so long you forgot what release feels like. You've been the strong one, maybe the one who carries everyone else's emotional weather, feelings, whatever, the one who doesn't break even when breaking would be the honest thing to do. And this blue moon, which is rare, quiet, distant, says, what if joy isn't something you earn through suffering? What if it just arrives? The girl's face in the moon Sabian symbol breaks into a smile, not forced, not performed, it just happens. So if you've been trying to solve mysteries that might not need solving about yourself, about what happened, about why people do what they do, the old man in the sun Sabian symbol, which we'll go into more in depth later, right, in the 16th degree of Taurus, is attempting to vainly, to reveal mysteries to you, vainly, because, some things are not meant to be explained, they're meant to be felt. Some truths also live in a paradox, seemingly opposite truths that are both true at the same time, and some answers come through by stopping the search, and the blue moon's rarity teaches this. Not everything operates on your timeline or your logic. If you've been pursuing, going after transformation like it's going out of fashion or it's a project, you can complete this blue moon on the 31st of May 2026 will feel like both relief and confrontation. The moon at the 16th degree of Scorpio sits in the Anuradha Naksatra, the lunar mansion of devotional friendship and deep loyalty. So here's, what we forget and what, some people won't tell you. Loyalty to yourself sometimes means betraying the version of you that everyone else needs you to be. So once again, sometimes being loyal to yourself sometimes means betraying the version of yourself that everyone else needs you to be and who you think you are, because a lot of the time you get molded into roles for our friendships and family, right? So this rare blue moon in the 16th degree of Scorpio, which is happening outside the usual rhythm, embodies this energy. You don't have to follow the expected pattern, just like this moon it's the second one in May. We normally only have one a month, right? So it's not following the normal pattern of full moons. It's breaking it, showing us that life sometimes we have to break the comfort zone, the routines, the rhythms we're used to, the thought patterns, the actions, the relationships, right? And we don't have to follow the expected pattern, right? Also, at the time of this blue moon, the moon is making a trine to Saturn. So this is a 120-degree flowing energy, and it's also Saturn is making a sextile, which is a 60% support aspect to the Sun, and this creates unusual stability. So we're being asked to build structure and routine around what's emerging, what's being birthed, the newness, not to control it. And that's the difference, right? Control suffocates, structure and routine support our plans, and this blue moon knows the difference even if you don't. And then there's the moon making an opposition to Uranus at 754 degrees separating, with the Sun making a conjunction to Uranus. So the revolutionary energy is loosening its grip, but the changes it initiated, that it started, they're staying, right? And you don't get to go back to who you were before. You knew what you know now. The cage door is open. Whether you walk through it is your choice, but pretending you don't see the door opening won't close it. So the moon is making a square, which is a 90-degree tension angle, bringing that confrontation to the North Node, and it's telling us that our destiny isn't where we thought it was. The path forward requires letting go of the story about where you're supposed to end up, and your soul's direction and your ego's plan aren't the same thing, they're different things, right? And this rare blue moon is the moment you start fighting that truth and start working with it. So we're moving into June, halfway through the year now, so you know those plans you made in January, or if you celebrate your new year at the time of the spring equinox, like myself, the 21st or the 22nd of March, right? You're 3 months in. So what are you going to do for the rest of the 9 months or 6 months you got? What steps can you take? Small practical one. Don't rush ahead. Small daily steps to reach your goals, define them, write them down, re-strategize, right? So yeah, that's the main message. So I'm going to talk about the aspects and the essential info, the time this full moon is happening in all the different time zones as well, and what the blue moon actually means. Then I'm going to give you some zodiac guidance, go deeper into the Vedic layers, the aspects in the more details, and you know, finishing up with some more home truths and all of that. So yeah, you know, keep locked on for all that info. If you just wanted the summary version, there it was. So the blue moon, this is the second full moon of May, right? The first one was on the 1st of May in Libra, and it's in the 16th degree, the moon is, of Scorpio, and the sun's in the 16th degree of Taurus, and it's a micromoon, right? And then that Sacras, the moon's in Andrea, Pada 4, which has the Namvasa of Scorpio Mars, right? And then we've got the sun in Rohini, Pada 2, and the Namvasa is Taurus and Venus, and it's happening on the 31st of May at 1:45 a.m. PDT time, right? Pacific time. It's happened in at 2:45 a.m. Mountain time, 3:45 a.m. Central time, 4:45 a.m. Eastern time, and Central European time 10:45 a.m. on the 31st of May also, and 2:15 p.m. Indian time, and 6:45 p.m. in Australian time, right? So it's happening on the 31st of May all across the world. So because sometimes it can happen a day before, a day after. So yeah, the Sabian degrees, Sabian symbol is a girl's face breaking into a smile for the moon, and this rules the inner ear, right? And we've got the sun, the 16th degree of Taurus, which has the old man attempting vainly to reveal the mysteries, and this rules the coveted arteries in the human body, right? The key themes of these Sabian symbols are joy breaking through the intensity, smiling through the chaos, releasing the need to solve every mystery and every problem, especially the problems that are not yours to solve, right? And a devotional friendship with yourself, on the mind, body and soul level, getting to know yourself inside out, what's and all, fits emotional energy. Scorpio wants you to work on self-love, forgiveness, understanding and management, building a structure around, existing routines that you're meant to stick to and goals and new goals that you're meant to be setting, and the rarity of the blue moon reminds us to honour what arrives that's outside our usual rhythm, what's outside of our comfort zone, right? So the major aspects we have is the moon making a bioquintile to Venus, and this brings creative beauty to our emotional depth, and Venus is 1.117 separating, and then we've got the moon making a quincunx to Mars, and this allows us to change our action, our behaviours to match our feeling. The sun semi-sextile to Mars allows us to have gentle movements towards our desires and goals, right? The moon semi-square to Jupiter brings fiction that creates growth, and the sun semi-square to Jupiter is bringing mind attention that's expanding our vision, and the moon's trine to Saturn helps us to build lasting emotional foundations, right? And the sun's sextile to Saturn supports us with our long-term goals, making them sustainable, especially our achievements, right? The moon opposite Uranus brings revolutionary change, allowing us to release what we need to release. The sun's conjunction to Uranus allows us to live our breakthrough, right? To live the change, to live the revolution. The moon's trine to Neptune allows our dreams to become emotional real. So very vivid dreams. Pay attention, keep a dream journal if you don't, or write them down or voice record them, right? To pick up on themes, maybe messages for some of you, especially if you've got strong moon and Neptune energy in your chart, and strong Pisces, Cancer or Scorpio energy too. And then we've got the sun making a trine to Pluto, and this allows us to integrate our power and empower ourselves consciously. And then we've got the moon making a square to the moon's north node, and this allows us to change our life path and our goals, right, to correct our course. So maybe you've gone far down the wrong path, and this allows us to get on the right path again. And the sun square to the moon's north node allows us to, again, adjust our purpose with direction. The moon's trine to the ascendant and the sun sextile to the ascendant allows our emotions to align with identity and for our goals and our purpose to support our self-expression, so to get back in tune with who we really are. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the heart of this full moon, this full blue moon in Scorpio. So this blue moon isn't asking you to dig deeper. Maybe you've been digging for months, maybe years, decades. The excavation, the digging up is done. This is what this fair blue moon is telling us. Now it's asking you, what do you do with what you found down there? Scorpio energy gets misunderstood because people think it's about darkness, but it's actually about what happens when you stop being afraid of the dark and you start embracing your shadow and everything like that, right? And working with all the different sides of your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, your ups and downs, your flaws, and just, discovering that the depths you've been terrified of, fearful of expressing, contain, hold the very power you've been searching for within anyone or everywhere else, right? We look externally when a lot of the things we need are internally, because we're the only ones that are with us 24/7 and can understand our thoughts, our strengths, our weaknesses, our ins and outs on the levels that we need to understand them on, right? And this doesn't mean other people can't know you, but we can only truly know ourselves, right? Because we are the only ones experiencing our thoughts and our perspective, right? So this blue moon says you already went down, you already faced what was waiting, now what? The moon at the 16th degree carries the Sabian symbol of a girl's face, breaking into a smile, not a woman, a girl. There's innocence here, right? So there's the possibility that joy can arrive without you having to psychoanalyze and overthink why you deserve it, and to work with your inner child, trying to start or continue to meet some of its needs, right? Not thinking about why you may not deserve this or that, as I said. And the kicker is that most of you reading this have been so focused on transformation that you've forgotten transformation has an end point. You keep digging because digging feels like progress, but eventually you hit a dead end, the bedrock, right? Eventually the word changed from excavation to, inhabitation, living in what you've discovered, from discovering to being. The sun at the 16th degree of Taurus sits opposite, holding the Sabian symbol of an old man attempting vainly to reveal the mystery. So again, pointing out, the old masculine approach, the one that says if you just think hard enough, analyze deep enough, explain thoroughly enough, you will unlock the secret, is failing. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Some truths can only be lived, not explained. This blue moon asks you to release the need to understand everything, to stop trying to reverse engineer your pain so you can prevent future versions of it, to recognize that some experiences are meant to change you, not teach you a lesson you can apply elsewhere. The mystery remains mysterious. The smile breaks through anyway. Scorpio at its worst tries to control through understanding. If I can figure out exactly why this happened, it won't happen again. But that's not protection, that's prison. This blue moon offers something different, the courage to be changed without needing to control how. And the axis between Scorpio and Taurus is about resources. What you've been accumulating, Taurus energy, right? And what you're willing to release, which is, Scorpio energy. So, resources are not just money, they're emotional patterns, relationship dynamics, ways of being that once served you and now don't, time, energy. And this blue moon puts a spotlight, illuminates what you are still carrying that you could set down, not through force but through recognition that your hands are full and something new is trying to arrive now. And the small distant moon creates quiet, intimate work. And this isn't about grand gestures or dramatic releases. It's about the small smile that breaks through when you're done, the private recognition that you're still capable of joy, after all you've been through. So the eternal shift that nobody else will notice but changes everything for you. So now I'm going to talk about the traditional lunar names. So May's full moon, it's the second one. The first was on the 1st of May in Libra, so it's still the flower moon energy, but it's the second flower moon, and this name honors fertility, growth and the abundance of late spring, moving into early summer. And as I said, I guess this is called the blue flower moon, which acknowledges the profusion, the abundance of flowers and vegetables coming into, getting ready for their harvest. Some of them harvesting already, lettuce, tomatoes, strawberries maybe, across the northern hemisphere. Not just decoration, but evidence of the life force expressing itself without apology after the winter. So other traditions call this moon the milk moon, marking, starting, sowing, signifying the time when animals are nursing their young and abundance flows. And this speaks to the Scorpio Taurus axis, polarity of nourishment from deep sources, sustenance that requires vulnerability. A mother feeding her young is powerful and exposed at the same time, and this is the paradox that the blue moon understands. And some indigenous cultures named this the planting moon, when seeds held through winter finally go into the earth, and what you've been holding in the dark. Scorpio is ready to root in the material world, represented by Taurus earth energy, and some secrets are seeds waiting for soil to come out. So in terms of the blue moon timing, the 31st of May sits at the threshold between spring's explosion and summer's establishment, which starts on the 21st of June, between becoming and being. So you're in that vulnerable middle where commitment is required but the outcome isn't guaranteed. The rarity of the blue moon adds another layer. This is the unexpected moon, arriving outside the usual pattern, remember? So you can ask yourself, what in your life is arriving outside of your usual pattern, and what gift is showing up that you didn't plan for or think you deserved, which you can embrace and use, So now I'm just going to give some guidance for all sun, moon and rising signs. So if you know your sun sign, just read that. If you know your moon and rising, read those placements too. So Aries, your 8th house is being activated. So share resources without becoming a martyr. The blue moon's rarity says not everything follows your timeline. Merge without disappearing, work with others without losing yourself, and transformation doesn't require you to become less. The girl smiles unexpectedly, let yourself smile. Taurus, your 7th house is being activated, so partnership mirrors what you won't admit. The old man tries vainly, stop trying to explain, just be. Relationship wants your presence, not analysis, right? The sun in your sign says embody, live the mystery. Gemini, your 6th house is being activated, so your daily routine needs honesty, not variety. The blue moon interrupts the pattern, this is good. Health asks for devotion, not just attention. Show up for yourself consistently, that's the Andraha teaching, do less and mean it. Cancer, your 5th house is being activated, so create for joy, not healing. Your heart wants spontaneous expression, not therapeutic processing. The girl's smile breaks through, let yours make something that serves no purpose but brings you happiness, that's the work. For Leo, your 4th house is being activated, so your home needs emotional honesty, not performance. The blue moon says what you build privately matters more than what you display publicly. Get your home right, your foundation right first. Let your inner world be messy and real. Nobody's watching what goes on in there anyway, Virgo, your 3rd house is being activated, so say what needs saying without perfecting it first. The blue moon rarity teaches some truths don't arrive in schedule. Speak before you're ready. Local communication wants your raw, authentic voice, not your edited one. So Libra, your 2nd house is being activated, so remember your worth isn't negotiable. The blue moon interrupts the balance good. You have been accommodating, financially and energetically. Keep what's yours, charge what you're worth, start making your value palatable to others, trying to pander to them and ask for what it is that you want. So Libra, ultimately the message is charge what you're worth and stop people pleasing. Scorpio, your 1st house is being activated, so this is your blue moon, your body, your smile, breaking through. The rare occurrence is you emerging different from who you were, once in the blue moon transformation. Let people see that transformation, and remember you don't own them, the old, outdated, familiar version of you anymore. Be who you want to be. Sagittarius, your 12th house is being activated, so the unconscious knows what philosophy's been hiding, and this blue moon says not everything needs meaning, some things just are. Rest without revelation, dissolve without lesson, trust what you can't explain, so you just let go of without trying to see the meaning and learn the lesson. Not everything has a lesson, Sagittarius. Capricorn, your 11th house is being activated, so community isn't just structure and routine. The blue moon teaches some connections can form from outside of your usual pattern, your comfort zone. Let friendships be spontaneous. Collective work needs your presence, not your management. Show up as the human you are, not the professional, you know. Aquarius, career wants authenticity, not innovation. The blue moon says your reputation changes when you stop performing. Let your work reflect your actual values, not your strategic ones. Public honesty over public image. Pisces, your ninth house is being activated, so your beliefs can change when you stop defending them. The blue moon interrupts your spiritual timeline. Good. Let your philosophy catch up with your experience. Travel internally. The old man's failure is your liberation, your freedom, you know, live it. Okay, so the zodiac guidance is finished, so now I'm going to talk about the Vedic layer. So talking about the Natsakras and all the Vedic stuff in more detail, right? So the moon is in the Natsakra of Anuradha, Pada 4, and Scorpio, and Mars rules this, Namvasa, as I said before, and the sun's in Rohini, Pada 2, and Taurus and Venus rules this Namvasa. So now I'm going to talk about where the moon is first. So the Anuradha Natsakra brings our attention to devotional friendship, as I said, friendship of ourselves, and this blue moon is in the Natsakra that deals with deep loyalty, devotional friendship to a higher power, to yourself, to others, to humanity. And Dharada spans 3.20 to the 1640 degrees of Scorpio, and this the overall Natsakra is ruled by Saturn, but this Namvasa, as I said, is ruled by Mars and Scorpio, right? So this energy of Saturn allows us to understand sustainable intensity, long-term intensity, not the intensity that burns out, right? Intensity that has a purpose, and how to maintain devotion without burning out, loyalty without martyrdom, you know, self-sacrifice. And as I said, it falls in the Namvasa of Scorpio itself, even though it rules Scorpio, right, and it's ruled by Mars, and of course if we're going to follow modern astrology, Pluto as well, so there's a doubling down here. So Scorpio moon in a Scorpio Pada is maximum intensity, in maximum devotion, right? But here is what makes this all workable. It's Saturn's rulership of the Anuradha Natsakra, and this provides the container, the space, the structure, the boundaries, right? And Mars provides the courage, and Pluto, I guess, the transformation, and together they create the voltage intensity that can actually last without consuming you, you know. So the deity is Mitra of Andradha's Natsakra, the god of friendship, partnerships and contracts. Not romantic love, but friendship, the kind that's chosen and that's, maintained through mutual respect, capable of lasting, enduring, because it's based on genuine recognition, not projection or need. And at the soul level, this blue moon is asking, what does devotional friendship with yourself look like? Most people think devotion to self means indulgence, do what feels good, but that's hedonism, not devotion. True devotion means showing up for yourself when it's hard, maintaining loyalty to your becoming, even when others are disappointed, choosing the path your soul needs over the path that would make everyone else comfortable. That's what Anuradha teaches, right? And the moon in Pada 4, the final Pada of this Natsakra, sits at the completion point, right? You've moved through the earlier Padas, self-development, practical discernment, relational beauty. Now you're at Pada 4, where devotion becomes intense, transformational and absolute, concrete, focused, long-lasting. Devotion at maximum depth, loyalty tested by intensity and proven real. With the Namvasa ruler Mars, your soul work right now involves devoted action, not passive acceptance, not spiritual bypassing through trust the process whilst refusing to move. Devoted action means showing up for what's calling you, even when you're scared, don't understand, or the path isn't clear. You act from devotion, not from certainty. And the karmic lesson here is about ending the pattern of betraying yourself to maintain relationships. Sometimes the most important contract to honor is the one with your own soul. If maintaining a relationship requires abandoning yourself, that's self-abandonment. wearing the mask of loyalty. This blue moon illuminates, puts a spotlight on where you have confused accommodating people's needs, with love or self-sacrifice for devotion. Anne Rodard says real friendship, including with yourself, can handle the truth. Real devotion doesn't require you to disappear. The soul level invitation is to become devoted to your own transformation, the way you've been devoted to others' comfort, to give you the same loyalty you have given to maintaining relationships that stopped serving you years ago. The blue moon connection, just as the moon arrives outside the usual pattern, your devotion to yourself might look unusual. It might disappoint people. That's okay. Some transformations don't follow the calendar, or the order of what people want it to be. Trust the irregular timing of the full moon, the 2nd of May, the blue moon, getting outside of your comfort zone. So the sun is in Pada 2, ruled by Taurus and Venus, and this is the pure materialization Pada, and the sun at 16th degree of Taurus sits in Vagatama, meaning Taurus in both the Visi, D1, and then Vasa, D9, are in Taurus, so this is pure Venus, pure Taurus energy, pure manifestation power, not dilution, no mixing, just the creator's ability to make things grow in the most fertile soil imaginable. This is the most grounded Pada in the entire zodiac for the happiness of desires and the transformation of thoughts into material reality. And Rahina Pada 2, ruled by Venus in Taurus and Vasa, creates individuals. So it wants us not to dream, we want to build under this transit, right? But if you was born here, then this is what you will do. It wants us not to just want, but to manifest, not to just imagine, but to actually become it. The sun here represents your soul's material expression. Your identity is tied to creation, beauty, wealth, stability and comfort. But here's the paradox. This blue moon puts a spotlight on and asks you to ask the question of, what if your soul's abundance is being blocked by your devotion to lack, scarcity? Brahma as deity brings the creative impulse, the power to bring forth life, to generate, to make the formless take form. And the ox cart symbol represents commerce, business, trade, and the ability to carry the fruits of your efforts, your hard work, your labour to market. This is not abstract spirituality, this is spiritual materialism. Not in the egotistical, let me buy, spend sense, but the understanding that the divine expresses through beauty, through resources, through the tangible, touchable world. And the Vagatama status intensifies everything. When the planet sits in the same sign in both D1 and D9, it's like a signal that's been doubled, reinforced and made undeniable. The sun in Rahini, Pada 2, Vagatama, says the soul came here to create abundance, not to suffer through scarcity as proof of devotion, not to sacrifice beauty as evidence of spiritual depth. You're here to grow things, to make things, to bring the divine into material form. So at the time of the full moon, the moon is always opposing, the sun, or the sun's opposing the moon, however you want to look at it. And this is at the time of this blue full moon, is the Mars ruled devotion, where the moon's at Scorpio, right, versus Venus ruled abundance, which is, a kind of paradox because the 2nd and 8th house are opposite each other. So it's just different expressions of each other, So the moon in Andrada, Pada 4, the Scorpio Mars energy, is devoted intensity, loyal transformation, long-term passion, friendship through depth, and Saturn's space. Mars is courage, devotion without martyrdom. This is what this means. So Saturn's container, space energy, plus Mars courage equals devotion without sacrificing yourself, right? So the sun in Rahini, Pada 2, the Taurus Venus energy, which is in Vagatama, which is pure abundance, material manifestation, beauty and comfort, growth and creation, and Brahma's creative power plus Venus's grace, the soul's right to wealth without apology. And the core tension is that Mars wants depth and intensity, loyalty through fire. Venus wants beauty and stability, loyalty through comfort. One says prove devotion through sacrifice, the other says devotion should create abundance, not destroy it. And this full moon asks, what if devotion and abundance aren't opposites? What if your intensity could build something instead of burning it down? And that's what the Natsakra, the Vedic Layer, wants us to ask. What if your intensity could build something instead of burning it down, right? So now I'm just going to talk a bit more about what the blue moon is for all you geeks out there, as I said earlier, right? That I'm going to go deep into it. So the work happens during a blue moon astrologically in depths because of the Scorpio energy, not on the surface. The transformation is cellular, at the soul deep within level, right, on the vein, blood, cell level, not performative. And this matches perfectly with Anuradha's devotional nature and Rahini's growth power. And this isn't like a loud moon, this is a quiet, sustained, internal restructuring of how you relate to devotion and abundance, as I said at the intro, you know. And the micro moon asks, can you commit to transformation even when no one's watching? Can you build abundance without needing applause? And remember, you're not performing devotion, you're not displaying abundance, you are meant to be inhibiting living both, right? And the quiet insistence of the micro moon is showing us that we're not going to have dramatic breakthroughs, we're not going to suddenly become abundant overnight, you're not going to announce your transformation to the world. It's Saturn energy, it's long-term internal energy, right? Instead, you're going to make a quiet cellular level decision. My devotion will create abundance, or it's not devotion, it's self-destruction. The micro moon energy is quiet, sustained, unglamorous, perfect for Andromeda's work of building sustainable structures for your intensity, perfect for Rahini's work of growing things patiently instead of forcing them. And this full moon asks, can you commit to your own abundance without needing anyone to witness or validate it? Can you devote yourself to your own growth the way you have devoted yourself to others' comfort, staying in your comfort zone, you know, or people pleasing, right? So now I'm just going to talk a bit about, you know, when scarcity, lack, masquerades, pretend its devotion, right? So the blue full moon sits on the Scorpio Taurus axis, as I said many times, and this is the most material charged opposition in the zodiac. Scorpio, Mars ruled water, wants to transform through intensity, prove worth through depth, earn belonging through sacrificial loyalty. And then we've got the Pluto energy there as well, transformation. So Taurus is Venus ruled earth based energy, and this wants to stabilize through beauty, know its worth through abundance, and create a sense of belonging through comfort. And we've been taught, you know, pretty much through our families, nations, religions, whatever, that, you know, these are incompatible, that spiritual death requires material sacrifice. And this blue moon says that's a lie. The moon in Andromeda, part 4, Scorpio Namvasa, which is Mars ruled, brings devoted intensity to maximum depth. But here's what's crucial: the deity, Mitra, God of friendship and contracts, teaches that real loyalty is reciprocal, real devotion is mutual. If you're giving everything and receiving nothing, that's not devotion, that's self-abandonment. Andromeda asks, what contracts have you been honouring that the other party broke years ago, you know? And opposite this devoted intensity sits the sun in Rahini Pada 2 and Vagatama, and this is double Taurus pure Venus energy, as I said. And this is your soul clearly saying, I came here to grow things, to create beauty, to manifest abundance, to know pleasure without guilt, to build wealth without apology. And Brahma, Prajapati, as deity embodies the creator's power, the ability to make the formless take form, to turn vision into reality, to grow what didn't exist before, and the ox cart carries the harvest to market. The Vedic woman represents passion and comfort, fertility and luxury. So the false choice that you have been making, and the pattern that this blue moon eliminates and illuminates, is that you have probably been choosing devotion over abundance, intensity over comfort, sacrifice over pleasure, because you believe spiritual depth required material sacrifice, and wanting nice things made you shallow. Meanwhile, your soul has been screaming, I'm literally designed to create abundance. That's my function. Stop blocking me. And the Vagatama placement here, the double Taurus energy, there's no confusion at soul level. This is what it says, this is what it means. There is no spiritual bypass available here. You can't claim your soul wants poverty. Your soul's literally sitting in the most abundant pada of the most fertile net chakra in a Vagatama position, screaming grow things at the time of this blue moon ray in Scorpio. And the moon in Andromeda has been taught that devotion requires sacrifice, that loyalty means putting everyone else first, that intensity proves your worthiness through how much you can endure and put up with, right? And the blue moon asks, what if your devotion could build abundance instead of burning through it? So we get to the real teaching of this energy, which is sustainable intensity. The key to Andromeda that most interpretations miss is it's ruled by Saturn, not Mars, though Mars rules this padas Navasa. Saturn, structure, discipline, sustainability, and Andromeda understands that devotion without boundaries becomes depletion, that intensity without structure combust, that loyalty without give and take, reciprocity, is just self-eraser wearing a spiritual mask. And the Sakti, the power of Andromeda, is to grant success and abundance, not through suffering, but through sustained, structured, reciprocal devotion, the kind that actually lasts, the kind that builds something instead of burning it down. And at part 4, the Scorpion and Vasa, Mars energy, the intensity reaches maximum depth, but because Saturn rules this net chakra, that intensity has to be load bearing, right? It has to be able to carry weight. It has to produce something beyond the experience of intensity itself. And the question is, what are you building with all this devotion? What's the harvest from all this intensity? If your loyalty hasn't created reciprocal relationships, if your transformation hasn't manifested touchable, tangible improvement, if your devotion has left you depleted, you're doing Andromeda's shadow, not its light. So the counter offer of Rohini is abundance as spiritual practice. So the sun is offering a radical alternative. What if your spiritual work right now is to receive, to allow to grow? Brahma, the creator, doesn't create through struggle. Creation is natural, fertile, easy. The seed doesn't resist growing. It grows because that's its nature. And Rohini Sakti, power is to make things grow, not force, not earn, grow. The way a plant grows in good soil with water and sunlight, the way wealth grows when you stop fighting it, the Taurus and Vasa creates a pure channel between soul and manifestation. Your soul knows exactly what it wants, the material expression of divine beauty, comfort, pleasure, resources, stability, and the touchable proof you're allowed to exist in a body that feels good. It's wanting you to accept and embrace yourself and love on yourself, regardless of where you've been and what you've done in your past, and not to get in the way, because what's been blocking this is somewhere you've learned that wanting abundance makes you unspiritual, that devotion requires you to deny yourself, and that transformation has to hurt. And the sun in Rohini says that was never true. You made it up to justify staying small, and it's time to give up that story, right? So let's take a little bit of a break for another geeky fact, right? So traditionally, actually, the blue moon meant the third full moon in the season that contains 4. And the seasonal definition, the idea of a second full moon in a month, came from 1946 misinterpretation by amateur astronomer James Hooper, and this error later became the accepted modern definition. The idonym originally, though, referred to something nearly impossible or exceedingly rare, sometimes linked to the atmosphere effects such as volcanic ash that could make the moon appear blue, right? So, at first it was the third full moon in a season that contains 4, but now it's 2 full moons in 1 month. So yeah, so let's get back on track anyway. So ultimately, the invitation of this blue moon on the 31st of May is devoted abundance. So here's the 4 steps that you can take. Number 1, audit, think about your devotional contracts. Andromeda's deity Mitra governs contracts and friendships, so who are you loyal to? What are you devoted to? And most importantly, is it reciprocal? Make a list of relationships where you give 80%, maybe and receive 20. Projects you pour energy into that don't nourish you back. Beliefs about scarcity and lack that keep you from receiving. Ways you prove your worth through sacrifice. And for each one, ask, is this sustainable devotion, or is this self-abandonment disguised as loyalty? And Andrada's part of 4 teaching is intensity that doesn't build something lasting isn't devotion, it's combustion, self-neglect, and will lead to burnout. Number 2, plant something, literally. The sun in Rohini Pada 2 wants you to experience growth as a natural process, not something you have to earn through suffering. So plant something, a seed, a cutting, a bulb, anything that grows without, if you've got the space and stuff. But you can get a little plant pot, cactus or something, and watch it grow without forcing it, earning it, proving you're worthy of it, apologizing for wanting it to be beautiful. Just water it, give it sunlight, let it grow. That's the Rohini teaching. Abundance is natural when you stop fighting it. Number 3, have 1 week of devoted receiving for 7 days. Practice devoted receiving the way you have practiced devoted giving. When someone compliments you, receive it fully. Say thank you, don't deflect. When the opportunity comes, say yes without questioning if you deserve it. When your body wants comfort, give it without needing to earn it first. When booty calls you, engage it without apologizing for desire. Devotion to yourself isn't selfishness, it's recognizing that you're part of the reciprocal contract too. 4, the blue moon completion ritual. Because this is the second full moon in May, use it to complete what the first one started. So on the night of the 31st of May, or within 3 days, write 2 lists. List 1, which is honoring the moon energy. Ask, what have I been devoted to that doesn't serve me? List 2, which is the sun energy. Write in it, what am I ready to grow instead? Burn list 1, plant list 2, literally bury it in a soil, maybe with a seed, which will show you the compassing of life. The paper will give nutrients or some kind of barrier food, recycle into the plant, to the seed. And the blue moon's in regular timing, say some completions can't wait for the right time. Some transformations need the extra push, and this is yours. And to work with the Micromoon energy of quiet work, internal work, doing the work without announcement. Don't post about your transformation, don't explain your new boundaries, don't perform your abundance, just quietly, persistently, devotedly choose reciprocal relationships over one-sided loyalty, sustainable intensity over destructive passion, natural abundance over over-performed or outwardly performed scarcity, and practice that, and let the work happen in depths. The harvest will sow itself when it's ready. So now I'm just going to give you some key dates. So the blue moon is exact on the 31st of May at 9:45 GMT BST time, and the first full moon was on the 1st of May, right? And the moon exits Andrada on the 1st of June, entering, Jetista Netsakra, and the sun exits Rohini around the 3rd to the 4th of June and enters Miskaseva Netsakra, and the next Netsakra for the moon brings our attention to power, authority, and Indra's throne, and the next Netsakra for the sun wants us to go on to seek things and go on the quest, right? And the new moon conjunction around the 14th to the 15th of June 2026. In the UK, it's on the 15th of June actually, and it's happening in Taurus. So to work with this energy more personally, check your moon sign, your rising sign, any current transits to your natal chart, any natal planets in the 12th to 20th degrees of fixed signs, so Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio, or the 2nd, 5th, and 8th houses, right? As these will be directly activated by the moon energy. Any natal planets that are naturally in Adrada or Rohini Natsakra in your chart, because this full moon is lighting them up, or any natal planets in Scorpio, Taurus, or the 2nd and 8th house, as I said, or any Venus and Mars placements, or any 1st house and 2nd and 7th house placements in your chart, So this blue moon ultimately is like wanting you to end the false choice between devotion and abundance. Your intensity doesn't have to burn you out. Your loyalty doesn't require letting go of yourself, self-erasure, forgetting yourself, self-neglect. Your transformation can create material beauty instead of destroying it. And the regular timing of the blue moon says you can't wait any longer. The quiet energy of the micromoon says this work happens in the depths, not on display. Devote yourself to your own growth with the same intensity you've been giving to everyone else. That's not selfishness, that's Andrada meeting Rohini, that's Mars learning from Venus, right? That's finally understanding that the ox cart carries your harvest too, being open to the abundance of all of the universe, right? So now I'm just going to talk about the aspect analysis and the Sabian degrees, then finish up with the integrating energies, how to put this all together, right? So now I'm going to talk about the aspects, right, that are influencing this full blue moon in Scorpio in a bit more depth. So as I said, we've got the moon trine in Saturn, 215 applying. So this is the anchor, the trine between the moon and Saturn in Pisces, open space to build lasting structure about what's coming up, around what's emerging emotionally. Your foundations can be fluid, include mystery and hold paradox right now, two truths at once or more than two truths at once. You don't need inflexible structures, you need long-term ones. And Saturn rules the Natsakra of the moon, right? So this is really, really good. It reminds us that, to be open to this energy, and the sun sextile to Saturn makes it easier to commit to long-term achievement without sacrificing the depth at the blue moon, and this grounds the rare occurrence of the blue moon, so it can actually change how you live if you're really, really willing to practice it. So ask yourself, what structure will support your joy? Not control it, not manage it, support it, so it can keep happening, right? So ultimately, the sun sextile to Saturn allows us to commit to the long-term growth that honours both depth and stability, and our abundance building can have the staying power, but negatively we may overstructure our transformation, overthink it, turning devotion into duty. And this where blue moon says build spaces, not cages, right? The moon's trine to Neptune at 5:52 separating is reminding us that our emotional body is still connected to the dream realm, as I said earlier in the introduction journal, right? And Neptune in Pisces dissolves the boundary between what you feel and what's spiritually real. So positively, our intuition is increased, our devotional work feels divinely guided, and the blue moon increases our psychic openness, receptivity, right? Trust what you're sensing, right? But negatively, we might spiritually bypass, the practical work of building abundance, floating in vision without manifestation. And Andrada says dreams need roots, right? And the sun makes a trine to Pluto, so our conscious identity has integrated deep power. The transformation is complete. You're living it, not processing it, and positively you can embody, live the change. Your soul's creative power for healing flows through you naturally. The blue moon confirms you're ready to use this, but negatively you might underestimate how much power you now carry and play small out of habit. And the moon's trine to the ascendant, our emotional truth aligns with how you present to the world, so positively, authenticity feels natural, and the girl's smile breaking through isn't performed, it's real, and it shows the blue moon's micro energy makes this alignment quiet but unshakable. But negatively, it's minimal energy, it's pure flow energy, so you may miss it, so you have to just tap into it, right, and proactively use it. The sun set star to descendant again allows us to express ourselves and create abundance with our soul's purpose, working towards it, working with it, being ourselves and manifesting wealth aren't separate paths, it reminds us. The blue moon says your presence is the abundance, right? But negatively, you may still separate spiritual you from material you. And Rahini says they're one, they're both the same, so you have to tap into that sun, that sacred energy. The moon makes an opposition to Uranus, and the sun makes a conjunction to it at 7:54 separating. It's still present, this energy, meaning that, it's allowing us to learn to live as the person who left the cage, not the person still deciding whether to leave it. The separating aspects means that the shock may have passed. You may know what to do, right? And that we're meant to integrate now. This breaking free wasn't a one-time event. It's your new normal now, to embrace it. And the medicine is not to go back. The cage door doesn't close because you stopped looking at it, reminding yourself that you're free. And now it's time to build a life that reflects that freedom, right? Don't go back. The cage door doesn't close because you start looking at it, so you have to actively work for your freedom or accept and embrace your freedom, right? So we've got the moon squaring the moon's north node and the sun squaring the moon's north node. So this brings friction, as I said, and it's course correction energy, not failure. So it's allowing us to make the changes that need to be changed, right? And the plans get interrupted by your soul, your higher consciousness needs right now. Let it happen, So now I'm just going to talk about the Sabian symbols that the moon and the sun's making, right, in more depth. So the Sabian symbol the moon's at is the girl's face breaking into a smile, 16th degree of Scorpio, and the smile happens because something true has just happened, right? The smile isn't manufactured, it breaks through like water breaking through cracked earth after drought. This is Scorpio at its most paradoxical, the sign associated with intensity, with darkness, with confronting what others avoid, and the image is a child smiling, not despite the depth, the deepness, right, but because of it. The girl has been in the deep end. She knows what's down there, and still the smile breaks through. Joy isn't the opposite of depth, right? It reminds us sometimes it's what comes up, emerges when you start running from depth and then just inhabit it, live it, be open to it. So psychologically it speaks to the moment after a crisis when your face remembers how to express something other than pain and suffering and endurance, right? You've been so focused maybe in surviving, holding it together, and then this Sabian symbol and life brings a change, a moment of grace. Your face breaks into a smile before your mind can decide if you earned it, right? And practically this shows up as unexpected moments of lightness during the darkness and heavy periods of life. You may be processing something massive and suddenly you laugh, you're grieving, and the memory makes you smile. the smile breaking through doesn't mean the intensity is over. It means you can hold multiple truths at the same time. And in terms of the body wisdom, the inner ear and the right ovary, which this degree rule, fertility and hearing, what you're capable of creating and receiving both come into focus. And it asks, are you listening to what your body is ready to birth? The inner ear connection brings sensitivity to sound and vibration. You may find yourself unable to tolerate the noise you usually manage right. Your nervous system is resetting and recollaborating right now. So the old man attempting vainly to reveal the mysteries where the sun is, Sabian symbol, is saying that, he's attempting in vain, he's not been successful at, sort of like revealing the mysteries, it's pointless, it's futile. He's trying to explain the mystery in a way that dissolves the mystery, making the impossible to express, the ineffable, reducing paradox to logic. But some experiences aren't meant to be solved. Some pain doesn't have a lesson attached. Some transformations happen in the body, in the heart, in places language can't fully reach, right? And the conversation between these symbols is the conversation between knowing and being. The old man wants to know. The girl just is. He attempts to reveal. Her smile breaks through. He works vainly, she receives with grace. This blue moon asks, what if you stop trying to solve the mystery of yourself and just lived in it? What if transformation happens when you stop demanding to understand? And the wisdom of this Sabian symbol, the carotid arteries, what carries blood to your brain, asks, are you getting adequate flow to the parts that think and plan? Or are you so focused on emotional depth that you've forgotten your brain needs nourishment? Balance the descent going down with physical care. Stop working so hard to make your transformation legible to others or to extract the perfect lesson from your pain. Just be the person whose face breaks into a smile when joy arrives. The girl doesn't explain her smile, she just smiles. So ultimately what the blue moon is actually asking, with its girl smile and the old man attempting vainly to explain the mysteries right, and Andrada's devotional friendship and the Micromoon's quiet intensity, is asking you to do something genuinely difficult. Stop trying so hard. Let joy arrive when it arrives. The blue moon doesn't follow the pattern of other moons. It soars up outside the usual rhythm, proving the calendar doesn't control everything. Your joy works the same way. It doesn't arrive on schedule or wait for you to finish transformation work. It doesn't ask permission. The girl's smile breaks through. Present tense, active, the smile is the subject doing the breaking. You're not making yourself smile. The smile is happening to you, breaking through the intensity, the chaos of life, not because it's over, but because joy and depth aren't opposites. They can coexist, It's a great song by Maze, an old 80s song called Joy and Pain. It goes joy and pain, like sunshine and rain, it's the paradox. So the old man attempts vainly. Stop being an old man trying to figure out exactly what you're transforming, what it means, how to prevent being hurt again. Some experiences don't have lessons. Some transformation just is. The mystery stays mysterious. You change anyway. Andra says, be devoted to yourself, not to your comfort or preferences or the versions others find convenient, right? To your actual soul's path, to the path calling you, even when you can't explain why, to the becoming that scares you because it's real. And the Micromoon says, this work is quiet, internal, intimate. The small smile you allow yourself when nobody's watching changes everything. So, May 26th has, 2 full moons. The first on Libra the 1st asked about fairness and power dynamics. The second moon on the 31st of May asks about joy and mystery. Together, they say, name what isn't fair, then let joy arrive anyway. Do the hard work of honesty, then receive spontaneous delight, happiness, and be open to the chaos and smile in the chaos, letting joy arrive anyway, right? So this blue moon, I don't think It doesn't happen again until around 2028, I think around the 31st of December. So this configuration of the Scorpio blue moon as a micromoon in Andropada 4 is genuinely rare. What arrives during rare moons doesn't have to make sense, it just has to be received. When your face breaks into a smile, let it. When joy arrives uninvited, let it. When the mystery stays mysterious but you feel lighter, let it. When your soul pulls you somewhere your logic can't explain, go. Not everyone follows the same pattern, but trust that you're breaking through in whatever direction you are. So remember, as I said in the start, the excavation, the digging is done. Now inhibit living what you have found. The smile is breaking through, let it. So yeah, that's the end of my very in-depth analysis of the full moon in Scorpio, the blue moon. I'm Imani, you're elastic, you're holistic astrological life coach. Take care and see you next time.